Attention! Please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
For me, I'm exact opposite. So, Corey, let me hold your hand.
I don't want to.
Let me hold your hand so I can let go of it.
Nerd On.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve.
Yes, you.
Yeah.
All of
And
you. You
all of
all
you are
deserve
welcome.
it.
You all deserve it.
Yeah.
Even those in the upside down.
Poor Barb.
Oh,
R.I.P. Barb.
hashtag RIP Barb.
Shout out to Barb.
Shout out to Barb.
Team Barb.
Indeed. As you may have guessed, this week we're going to be talking about Stranger Things. We just all finished watching season 2.
Yeah, we're sitting at the hype station,
Hype
watching
station.
the hype train.
Yeah.
Yep.
it's gonna
Go
west.
away.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
we missed it.
But you
Yeah.
know we're gonna call our Uber and we're gonna catch up to that train. So,
yeah.
Uber helicopter. Uber helicopter.
Shout out to Uber.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored. We're gonna move on around the horn.
Yeah. So I'm Josh, just plain Josh. Nothing witty, nothing funny, just fucking Josh.
Just fucking Josh. Got it.
Yeah, fucking Josh.
I like fucking Josh.
And across from me,
Oh,
Every time.
we're going to skip a little time. That's okay. What's up? My name's Corey Corthaniel the Brave. Two others. Adventurer. Usually
D&D name. wouldn't it?
Usually wizard, but I'll play paladin. I'll roll paladin. I'm not scared. That's me.
Oh, now it's me?
Yeah,
Okay,
now
we
it's
can-
you.
now it's you, Tom.
Okay, we can go to me. This is Tom.
so what are we talking about
Okay.
today?
This is Tom. I forget. I was like a half demon, halfling in my D&D character that I created. And
Oh, see, I haven't actually created a
I see. I
D&D
created
character.
one, and I have the app that goes with it. But today, I am the film snob, TV dude, critic. I don't know.
Guru.
Not really. I don't have a degree in that.
Guru
comic
Tom.
nerd, yeah, and thing that someone that just loves all supernatural things.
That's fair.
And then across from me,
I rolled a really cool rogue, but I ended up being the DM for our group. God dang it. And I'm Ali. I'll be your fourth member of the conversation. So we're gonna dive right in. I like that.
I'll be your fourth member of the conversation.
Just a guy sitting here. We're gonna talk about it. Should we start with like maybe quickly season 1? What our thoughts were?
Yeah, let's dive. Well, yeah, we'll be talking about season 1 and 2. So if you haven't seen season 2 yet, pause this.
Yeah.
Turn
Go
on Netflix.
binge it.
Binge it for 9 hours,
They got a
and then
14-day
come
free
back
trial.
and listen to this. Yeah, I think it's smart to start with season 1. I know my wife and I were hooked almost instantly. The first day it came out, I think we watched like the first 4 episodes and couldn't stop and had
Yeah.
to like look at each other and be like, we have to go to bed.
can we do like a little bit of like a rewind?
Yeah.
Just because I remember when like Stranger Things the trailer came out, and this was
Oh,
the
yeah.
time when like House of Cards season 2 and like maybe Marvel's Daredevil barely came out. So Netflix was starting to come out with these original series, and everyone's kind of like, I don't know what to see or think about it. And so far, House of Cards and like Daredevil was like, oh my god, these are amazing. Netflix
Incredible.
makes only amazing things. And then I don't know if you guys have seen it already, but like if you check out like the Netflix queues and stuff like that, actually just check out like kids and animation and stuff like that. Netflix actually has some pretty shitty like content out there.
Like
but
original
then,
content?
Yeah, like original content, which is like kind of like interesting to see. Like, you know, they're just like any other production company, but the cool thing is that they don't have to like abide by the same like ratings and everything like that. But I
Rules.
yeah, exactly.
We don't need rules.
But
we don't need rules.
But the one thing that I did notice, like I remember exactly the moment when that trailer came out, and I was at my day job and I was on a computer and I was looking at the trailer, and it was just like the opening credits, and it was just super 80s, you know, had the red, you know, font coming in, the theme plays and all that stuff, and I was like, this seems super dope.
That theme is very reminiscent to the Thing.
Yeah, and I was
theme,
just gonna
by the
say, like,
way.
it just felt like the Thing, which, you know, again, like,
Which
if you-
keeps making an appearance in
It's
our
just
show.
my favorite. That's
Yeah.
all. No big deal.
and then you see the poster in it in the episodes of, you know, Stranger Things and everything like that.
Welcome
you
to
can tell,
Thing On, the podcast.
you could just tell it has such a huge influence over the Duffer Bros that that created the show.
Yeah, I mean it's like the 80s like horror,
Yeah.
you know.
The best time, you mean, for like sci-fi horror things?
Oh,
The 80s?
the absolute best.
100%.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing that they get away with in Stranger Things is the 80s vibe is
Yes.
because when you talk about the supernatural things in like the postmodern or post 9/11 world, like it's very easy to just throw like, you know, facts or, you know, like mythical babble into it where it's like, oh, you have to explain where everything came from, how it's a different dimension, what scientists created, like what's the science behind it, like tachyon like particles and stuff like that. It's like, all right, Jesus, like in
Can I just enjoy my entertainment?
And Stranger Things, it's just monsters. Just monsters in
straight
another
up.
dimension. Here you go. Boom, boom.
Well, and it's so seamless the way they do it. You know, it doesn't feel overly heavy-handed with the period piece-ness of it. Kind of reminds me of Freaks and Geeks.
Oh,
in that
yeah.
sense. I don't remember that. But yeah, I mean, they just get away with it, and everything just looks so good. They do such a good job with the production of.
You watch a
yeah.
couple
Feel
episodes and you're like, okay, I can
This is like
I can
pull straight out of
hop
the
on
80s.
this train.
Yeah,
I mean, the parallel between what was going on and D&D was pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
I think
That's a really good
yeah.
way to pull that together.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool thing that it did was one for the casual audience. You have Nancy, Steve, and Jonathan who play out kind of some archetypal roles from like Breakfast Club,
Yeah, like the love triangle.
and then you got the kids who are like kids from like ET. But then you have them being nerdy kids where like all the actual real fans
like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And yeah.
and they talk about the thing and they have like, you know, all the cult horror movies and all that stuff and all the aliens and monsters and, you know, playing D&D and video games and arcades and all that stuff. Like that's what really kind of captured one part of the audience. But then there's also still that drama. And then you have, you know,
So you might say it has mass appeal.
I'm not familiar with that word. You have Hopper, you know, who is like the burned out, disgruntled, kind of like,
Which there's a hashtag going around called Hotper, like HOTPER, because everyone finds him attractive.
David Harbour, baby. You got Winona Ryder. What's her character name again?
Joyce.
Jopper. Hashtag Jopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shipping them?
I mean, the thing we'll get into in about season 2.
Yeah.
It's just like you could just tell, and you know, I talk about this a lot. Like when you have film language written such like by the numbers, you could just tell what's going to happen with characters, and
Sure.
it's just such like it feels good because it feels like it's natural, but to me, I see it. It feels good because it's logical.
that would be super awkward for. Oh no! Wait, never mind. I'm mixing up my parents.
Okay.
Thank you, Ali.
I do that at least twice
Thank
a day.
you for being
Don't
the
worry,
fourth person in this conversation. But yeah, let's dive into season 1. We'll start there. First of all, I want to start with probably like favorite characters, and we'll dive into why after that.
Okay.
In season 1 specifically, well, we'll start with Ali over here. Who's your favorite character in season 1?
In season 1, my favorite character is probably Dustin.
Toothless.
Toothless.
Yeah, I like that.
Love. Yeah. Just that. It's just the confidence that he has, and
And his
you know,
enthusiasm about everything.
yeah, it's great, and his attitude and his swearing and, and his mother.
Yeah.
And Tom, what about you?
I don't know. I'm always kind of like the leader of the pack, the guy that kind of has to make the decisions that no one wants to make. Like I like the Leonardo, I like the like Captain America, the Cyclops characters. Like so, it has to be Mike.
So you're trying to say you're the leader of Nerd On?
No, I'm not trying to say I am. I'm just saying if there was, I'd like him. And
So
probably
you liked Finn Wolfhard.
yeah, Finn Wolfhard, man. I mean, the thing is like,
Dope name,
but
by the
also like he's the one that kind of has to like lead them all and to try to find Will and everything like that. And you know, obviously they all come together and they all have their own parts to play, and that's I think a great thing about ensembles. But you know, he does that part. But I mean, there's also parts of me that likes Hopper a lot too.
Okay.
Because again, I always kind of like the reluctant hero. So
Yeah.
like he's kind of just pulled into it. You know, he's the one's like, none of this makes sense. Blah blah. All I'm here to do is protect my town. And then he has some dark trouble past too.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on this like vice life where he's smoking, drinking, and he's still doing his job. Is just kind of like you could tell he's burnt out of it.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
still has this heavy weight to like take care of everybody around him.
I dig that.
Purpose.
But
Joshua? Wait, what were we going to say?
I was like, but I also really like Jonathan
Jonathan? Okay.
because I was like the kid with the camera,
Yeah, that's fair.
and so like
Taking pictures of people while they change.
Yeah, and I was very close to my family. Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's what I did.
Tom said yes.
Peeping
just
Tom
on the record.
Peeping Tom.
So everybody knows.
Josh, what about you?
As cliche as it is, I really love 11.
Solid choice.
I like the silent characters. usually. Like she's not completely silent, but she's just like taking in the world.
Well, it's
and
kind of
she's
like
just,
Mad Max,
Yeah.
the remake. Like he barely says anything, and
Yeah.
yet you understand everything about him.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I really just think, I just love her character. I think it's a lot of fun.
And how cool she is.
Yeah, she is just badass.
went-
She took it to 11.
Here's
Shit.
I actually, little fun fact about 11. I went as her for Halloween last year because
good.
I had accidentally shaved my head.
You accidentally?
I did.
Yeah,
So
he
I
was
had
pretty
clippers
upset.
and I had cut it real nice, like shorter on the sides, longer on top, going for some like
Peaky
Blinders
Blinders.
look. And I noticed I missed a spot and I picked up my clippers when I got out of the shower and did that and realized I took the gauge off. So I shaved my head the opposite of whatever 211 is. And I went as 11, we found a pink dress and went as 11 for Halloween.
And then soon after that, he got engaged.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
the dress.
That's when Dana knew.
Yeah, I was really pissed too because I shaved
This is
my,
Corey
shaved
on the
my head
podcast?
before I engaged.
Learning Corey's
My
life?
favorite character in season 1 was Mr. Clark.
AV
Fucking-
teacher, right?
The best character in the whole show.
yes.
Do you guys realize nothing would have been done without him?
yeah.
Yes, true. Did you guys ever have like a teacher like that? Because he just reminded me of a teacher I had.
Yeah, I did.
I had-
not science though. My acting teacher, David Snyko, shout out to David Snyko, was like that.
Yeah.
I had a teacher like that. He was my 7th grade science teacher. His name was Mr. Listowski, and he was just very eccentric, very like, yeah, man, come, like, you don't want to have lunch with all the cool kids. Have lunch in my room where we play chess. And I was like,
the
God.
thing I liked about it is, first of all, he's watching The Thing in
Yeah.
season 1. So like, as soon as I saw that, it solidified my choice. But
And I
even
love that
with-
he has a girl over.
Yeah, and he has a girl over, and he takes the time to still help them
answer and
build
help them
a sensory deprivation tank. Like, he's the coolest fucking guy in the whole show. And the kids are like talking about like, what about this like parallel plane? And he gets really excited. And he's
Yeah.
like, give me a plate, and he like draws on it and
And he
shows them
shows them
about the
how-
upside
yeah.
down and like. So
He just wants to get his freak on.
I was like, I want to be like that when I'm older. Like, I want to be the guy who's
You want to
like
play with children?
telling my kids, yeah, I want to play with kids. No, I want to be able to like be that nerdy guy with my kids someday, who they ask me something and I'm like, yo, let me tell you about paladins real quick. Like that's what I want to be like.
I think that's a really cool thing that you find with a character like that is you really get drawn to the passion that they have. So I mean, like every time they are passionate about like D&D or like a video game or like a kid with a camera or something like that,
Yeah.
or a teacher, you know, it's like you really start like latching onto them because it's something that they have that no one else has.
Yeah.
And you really start like, oh, I swear to God, they better not kill this character.
I was the whole first season. I was like, don't you fucking dare kill Mr. Clark.
There's still time.
Oh yeah.
Shush. My other favorite.
Did you hear that George R. R. Martin's is going to be?
Yeah,
Hobbit?
funny. My other favorite was Lucas. I fucking love Lucas. I really like, because I feel like I would be the same way. Like, he's not all gung-ho about, like, let's just trust this chick who can use her mind to move shit. He's like, let's
Hold on.
slow the fuck down. Let's think about this for a minute. There's demons, a telekinetic chick that just showed up, and we're just gonna embrace all of it. Let's think about it
And
for a
see,
second.
so that's why I like Mike, where I'm kind of like, yo guys, we gotta keep it together. But damn, I really like this girl though.
yeah, that's
But
yeah, yeah.
damn, I like this girl though.
So I'll be the guy that's like, Tom, get your head out of your ass and think about this for a second.
But out of 1 out of 10, she's 11 though.
So yeah, I think that was it. Those are my two. I like that. I'm glad we all have different favorite
Different
characters.
But
That
I,
makes me
you know,
really
like
happy.
those are our top. But I think I pretty much like almost every character.
Oh yeah, easily.
It's-
I have
That's
a
a really
different
cool thing.
favorite character for season 2.
Me
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We can go around the room.
Favorite moments of season
two.
1.
Yeah. Who wants to start that off?
Favorite moments of
Because
season 1.
my favorite moment was Mr. Clark interrupting his date and watching The Thing.
His date was pretty smoking too, if I remember
Right.
correctly.
And he's watching The Thing.
Yeah.
So then he
how,
leaves it.
how much cooler could you get?
Right. And he leaves it and helps kids like defeat evil and save the world. Like
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite low under the radar moment of season 1.
All right.
For sure.
I don't know. It's going to take me a while to
Yeah, it's like we posed the question, but do we even know?
For season 1, it's been a while.
Am I the only one who came prepared tonight?
Maybe.
I mean, of course, there's that cliche moment when the fucking bus flies over. That was
Ah.
pretty badass because it was like, I'm always a fan of characters in TV shows, movies, or whatever that know that they have powers, but they don't know the extent of their powers.
Their upper limit.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it was just kind of like, I think 11 knew that she was a badass, but in that moment, it was just like, I'm going to use my badassery to do this, and that was cool. I really like any scene with the kids.
Yeah.
Like it brings me back to like Sandlot or Stand By Me, that 80s
Oh,
kids
yeah.
vibe where they're, they're just all like
Little
just
Rascals. The young kid.
What
the young
about
kid
the
in
scene where she steals the Eggos for the first time
yeah, that's
in the grocery store and just wrecks it?
Yeah.
Like, I loved that as well, I have to admit.
Yeah, I love that that scene at the very end that she's
Oh,
out
yeah.
there because she's still
when she sacrifices herself.
Forever, and she's dead forever.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why
Forever.
I'm having a trouble finding like my favorite part of the series is of the season one because it kind of goes into a qualm I have. I think my favorite part is when she kind of does discover her upper limit in the very end of season one,
Yeah.
where she has to fight the Demogorgon,
Yeah.
and then she banishes it and everything goes away, and you think everyone both of them died, but just kind of like that. It felt like the cinematic release that you get kind of when tension builds and kind of like you're working towards your climax of the piece of art that you're working on or you're viewing. So I mean, I think that would probably be my favorite because it was kind of like, all right, to me by like the middle of the season, I was kind of like, they're gonna have to fight. They gonna have to fight.
they gonna have to fight.
Because there's a lot of points where I was kind of like, okay, cool. This is a lot of exposition. Because again, they give you the characters, they have some fun with them, they introduce a new character, have some more fun with that, introduce a plot point, have some more exposition. Matthew Modine was pretty great. I thought he was like
Yeah.
a really good villain in there.
Oh, yeah, he was fantastic.
He's-
Papa?
Yeah, and it's so weird to see him from like Dark Knight Rises to see him to this. And I was just like, God damn, he's just an asshole everywhere, isn't he?
All the time.
Or in 6 Feet Under.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
was he
Right?
in Weeds?
Was he in 6 Feet Under?
Weeds.
Am I
He was in
totally
Weeds, right?
terrible
Weeds.
person?
Yeah, you're a terrible person.
Possibly.
I am.
Maybe we just like you, Matthew Modine. Shout out to Matthew Modine.
Shout out to him. But yeah, let's keep. I want to get into like stuff we liked in qualms and stuff like that, but I want to touch base on favorite characters for season two
Season
first.
2.
Yeah. And I can start
So season 2 takes place a year after the events of season 1.
or right before 1 year, right?
Right before, right before 1 year.
Yeah,
correct.
right before 1 year.
325 days or 52 days, whatever.
I'm a terrible person. I was thinking of Ed Begley Jr.
You are.
Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah.
He'll be in
I
season
just watched
3.
Best of Show the other night. He's great. in that.
Nice. Anyway.
So so it takes you just under a year. No one knows where 11 is as far as the main crew of kids go. Mike is secretly reaching out to her every single day, notebook style. I wrote, still not over. And then we find out
Message you every day.
in the first episode that Hopper has had her this whole time, and
Which really opens up a cool dynamic between the two.
I loved that dynamic. We'll get into that. We'll get into it. But I am fucking furious.
Hi, fucking
Mr.
Furious. My name's Tom.
Mr. Clark doesn't do shit in season 2.
No.
Not even. He
He
almost
made like a
gets
tiny
in.
little bit of a thing and not even really.
They almost show him Dart, and then they're
Demodog.
like, "Never mind, we gotta go." And he's like, "All right." And I was like, "Fucking show him. He'll help you. I promise."
You know why? Because Bob Newby.
Because
Yeah.
Bob Newby superhero.
Yeah.
But I Lucas season 2.
Lucas is.
Lucas was my favorite season 2.
Who's Lucas again?
Lucas, one of the main kids.
Sorry. Like all the kids like kind of like go blend in for me.
He's in
sometimes.
love with Mad Max.
Oh, gotcha.
He gets to dance at the end.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved that whole storyline.
For me, it started out as Max because I was just fascinated with her character, and then
Billy.
towards the end, it was actually Steve Harrington.
Yeah, cool.
He ended
I
up
dig it.
becoming my favorite character. And I felt
Yeah.
really
He had really good development.
yeah.
I'm glad they did that because they caught on pretty quick. I think that he was a fan favorite, and
Yeah.
especially all that stuff he did with Ben Schwartz, John Ralphio, and how they're
yeah,
both
yeah.
from Indiana, and they're apparently there's like a theory that Steve is John Ralphio's dad, I think, or granddad or something like that.
Oh, I
So,
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just knowing from like season 1, the Duffer Brothers are talking about how they realized they were starting to really like the character Steve, and they didn't want him to have zero like redeemable qualities, and that's why at the end when he fights the Demogorgon when he can't see it, they it kind of brings Steve as like, oh, we should like him, and at the very end it feels like it's okay that Nancy slept with him, so she's not a huge like high
Yeah.
school, doesn't play that high school trope of like, oh, she's like the dumb girl that becomes like enthralled with like the douchebag dude, but now like you've stripped him from all of
Because he
his
was
like
pretty douchey.
yeah, you stripped him from his friends, so now he like, oh, I actually am a good person. I am going to go back and fight and help them out.
Well, I feel like Steve. You guys have all seen Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Steve kind of parallels the douchey guy in the beginning of the movie of
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. So I thought that's where that was going because I know this is like full of like 80s nostalgia and stuff like that. So in season 1, I was like, oh, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it for sure. But when they flipped it around, I was so happy they did.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like, I'm going to quote some of the things from if you have watched all Stranger Things 2, you probably have watched now Beyond Stranger Things. And the Duffer Bros, like, you find out like the creative process and when they wrote the characters, they're kind of almost in free fall. A lot of the times they're kind of like, okay, cool, we want to do this with this character. Who else are they going to work with now? Like who? And so that shows pretty much one of the most triumphant moments is that you get Dustin and Steve working together, and a lot of people really responded to that like
So funny.
in a good way.
And it's a
So,
great pairing.
yeah.
Season 2 favorite characters, Josh.
It's kind of a tie-ish. I really liked Bob. I was very sad to see him go.
Yeah.
I just loved his like, well, yeah, I know how to do that. Like, do you know basic?
Yeah, I'll teach you French and German while we're at it.
Yeah,
I read an interview from the Duffer Brothers that said they were originally going to kill him off in episode 3 or 4, but they just loved
Sean Astin.
and the
Yeah.
character of Bob that they kept pushing it and pushing
Because
it and
when
pushing
they
it.
cast him, they saw what's his face in Lord of the Rings, his character's name,
Sam
Samwise. Yeah, they just saw him. They're like, we need
Samwise and Goonies, which Goonies was a huge influence on the whole show.
Yeah.
So they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until that point. And I forget which one of the brothers was talking, but he was like, it physically hurt me to write that scene. He goes, and when we sent the scripts out, I got the meanest text from Winona Ryder for like 3 days. And he goes, that's when I knew it was the right time to do it, is when you get that reaction, you're like, I did it right.
Yeah.
I also really loved Hopper's journey in this season. It's like he has a sad past with losing his family, and then he has 11, which is kind of, his adopted daughter, so
It's
to
like
speak.
a second
and,
start almost.
And it's like when a parent is angry at their kid, he doesn't want to be angry with her, and then like he feels bad for it later, and it's just like
He's protective of her.
yeah, he's
too.
protective of her, and but he loves her. You can tell that he just loves her, and he's taken her under his wing, and
Yeah.
I just really loved that. I
that
also
birth
like
certificate at the end, though.
but I love when they're like in the hospital towards the end when they're like, it's a mind flayer and blah blah blah, and they're talking about this, and he's like, in English.
Oh yeah, yep. He was like, "It's just a game. What does it mean?
Yeah.
How do we kill it? Do we shoot fireballs at it?" And Dustin's like, "No, we don't. We don't shoot fireballs at it." That was great. I really enjoyed. Yeah. His arc was. I really liked that they paired the two of them together.
Yeah.
It's a really. I think the two of them are phenomenal actors. 11 and.
Oh man.
David Harbour.
Thank you.
Hellboy.
And to see them, they're just so contrasting characters as well. So to see
Yeah.
them both stubborn as shit in the same scene together, eating fucking Eggos covered in M&Ms was
Yeah.
like the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, hold my hand. I think we agree. I think we have the exact same. But Bob Newby, the thing that got to me with Bob Newby, I was like, who the fuck is this guy just barging into the store making out with Winona Ryder? And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, like, he's just like this super dopey, dorky kid. And then
Super smart.
super smart.
Bob the Brain.
And I mean, it kind of goes back to the whole, I guess, Peter Parker thing. And I'm kind of just like, fuck yeah, the
And
nerdy
he had a
dude
crush.
got the girl.
He had a crush on Joyce in high school.
yeah,
and that kind of thing.
but the thing is, like, he saw her as the popular girl, and
Yeah.
and you get that
now she's
relation.
the crazy girl.
Right. Yeah.
You get that the hot crazy scale. You get that relationship between her and Hopper. How like they used to be the kids that would smoke at the under the bleachers or whatever,
Yeah.
and then like fucking Bob Newby who created the AV Club.
AV Club.
Like.
Oh, I loved that.
and so
I fucking loved
and so
that
maybe
he
I don't know.
created
It's like
the-
me, and I'm just kind of like creating like a film organization too, and I'm kind of like I feel for you, and I'm like I was always the nerdy kid who had like the
Is
crush
Bob
on the.
your spirit animal?
I don't know. I just don't want to die.
Bob Newby.
Superhero, and he says a superhero, so
Yeah.
I'm like
Oh,
I'm
and
all
that
about
drawing
that shit.
on Will's wall at the end where it said
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Newby superhero.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
best storyline in the show
Yeah.
this season.
I just really liked him and like his whole thing, how he was just like, oh, I get to be with you, and like I never got to. I was just like, that really hit me, really hit home for me. And then yeah, to that same point of just David Harbour's Hopper, just I totally forgot that he had lost a daughter,
Yeah.
and then he brought it up, and he's like, oh, that's my little girl. and she's gone. And it kind of like, oh shit. And the thing is like,
She left us. That's
she
what
left
it
us.
said, Yeah.
And you never got this feeling of like throughout season 2, or at least the beginning of it, like that he was replacing 11 or replacing his daughter with 11. But it was more of like a cautionary tale of like, I've lost so much and I don't want to lose you and I need to keep you safe at all costs.
Yeah,
and that's
so
always
it becomes overbearing,
Yeah.
protective.
and
yeah.
that's almost like in a funny way, like a Disney trope of like the overbearing father that like is, you know, reprimanding the daughter and stuff. And the daughter's like, I just want to be free. But this daughter will whip your ass because she has telekinetic powers. And it's really cool at the very end. Again, you know, the testing of the upper limits, it's with her. It's with Hopper at the very end too. But I think we'll talk about it. But the relationship between them two kind of goes into one of my favorite scenes as well of season 2.
Cool. Well, I wanted to kind of shift the conversation a little bit to talk about the concept of the Upside Down. And
The Nether.
The Nether, yes.
Because it's actually called the Nether, but the kids have called it the Upside Down the entire time.
Oh, yeah, because it's a way better name. Like, I don't know what the monsters are actually called, but Demogorgon is the best fucking name you can ever come up with.
Demodogs.
Oh, I love
And
it.
Demodogs, I thought that was great. And when he kept explaining it, Demogorgon dogs, it's a... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Isn't it just a parallel universe?
Yeah, it's kind of
Essentially,
a...
yeah.
Seems like it.
I think the Upside Down is really a great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to explain it.
Yeah. There is something in season 1 that really pissed me off a little bit is when Nance finds that tree with the gate in it and she just is like, I'm just going to crawl into this bleeding tree for a little bit.
Why not?
Because who does that? In real life, who does that? That's my only moment. They were so...
This
I
isn't
felt like,
real life.
But this is
Corey.
horror movie like thinking like
But they
where
were
it's
so
like-
smart throughout the whole rest of the show and that just bugged
It's like,
me.
have you seen that Geico commercial where it's like it's based on a horror movie and they've got like these 4 teenagers and they're like, let's go hide in the barn with all those chainsaws.
I've seen that. Yeah. But they didn't do any of that. That's why I liked Lucas in season 1 because every time they would
It's
try to do
logical.
something like that, he's like, "Fuck that, we're not doing it." But I loved how they made it look. I loved like it almost reminded me of Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's like flakes.
Yeah,
in
like the
air.
ashes and stuff
ashes,
like that in the air.
Well, I mean,
I love the vibe.
I feel like, the Upside Down or the Nether didn't really like, oh my God, that's such a crazy thing because I'm going to open up, be vulnerable for you guys.
Oh, yeah?
And gals at home.
I was born in the Nether.
Molded by it. I watch a lot of Vampire Diaries. And when you die, you go into the other side. And the other side is literally the same world, except it's filled with dead people. And it looks
like,
exactly the
upside
same.
down.
And so it felt very similar. And so, there are things like that where I have I don't have qualms with, but like when people are like, oh my God, Avatar is like revolutionary. It's like, it's the Fern Gully, Smurfs,
I
whatever
was
you
just
want
going to say, it's just a really expensive fern
it's
gully.
Pocahontas. Like, don't tell me the story is revolutionary. Tell me the technology is. That's cool. Like, tell me Stranger Things. Like, yeah, it has a really cool vibe. But like, you tell me like, oh, there's a monster with an open mouth. Things like that's Petey the Piranha from Super Mario. Like, I don't care. Hey, look, there's this mind flayer thing. Oh, I mean, like Cthulhu wannabe. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not saying that these designs aren't cool or anything like that, but like, nothing really like makes me go crazy. Like,
Well, I think they're purposely pulled from other things.
yeah, I think it's cool. Like, it has an homage, but like something that you could tell has some influences, but you wouldn't know where it came from is like Hellboy. Hellboy character design from Guillermo del Toro, where you have the Samael, the tentacle dog thingy with a long tongue and like 4 eyes. It's like, oh crap, this is a crazy looking monster. Everything in Stranger Things, not saying it's a bad thing, but like kind of just seems pretty tame. And they do the Jaws thing, which I think is really cool. With the less you see, the better.
Yeah,
they
I
do that a
agree
lot
with
in
that.
season 1. In season 2, they're kind of like, cool guys, we have a quadruple budget. Let's use CGI for everything.
Yeah. I don't want to get in the qualms yet because
Yeah,
I
so-
have quite a few, but I want to just talk about the Upside Down as a whole.
My question is, what do you think like it really is? I mean, it's kind of a conflicting thing because I almost don't want them to explore that too much because I love the characters and their interaction. But it's like, what is it? It's like a desolate place with like
Well,
one.
yeah.
mind
What do
flayer?
you think it is, Ali?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a world, like if it's a parallel universe, then maybe like it was fine until the mind flare came in and it consumed everything, and now it's
Didn't
like,
they? Was it on Beyond Stranger Things? They had Bill Nye. They had Bill Nye explain universes and how there's
Yeah.
multiple universes, and they did like almost like a Venn diagram. And pretty much where this little place of Nether exists is part of another universe that's like now starting to merge with ours. So for me, so he took it from like a scientific point of view, and he's done things where he like explains how Superman shaves. But like this, I felt like to me it was just like it's just another dimension that like is now seeping into ours because it's starting to like meld into ours, and there's a certain point where like again the universe is constantly expanding and we're all just like particles bumping into each other. So to me it was just very logical. I was like, yeah, it's another universe that's popping in, and it's like technically speaking, if you think of like in all cases of supernatural that quote unquote happen in the world, it's one anomaly that's going on. And I mean, to me it almost kind of feels like Buffy, where the library is the Hellmouth.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But then also I think it's very ignorant to think that this is the only, like Hawkins is the only place that this is happening.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to see them explore that a little more in season 3.
Well, I guess
It's
in
going out.
in like a plot point kind of way, do you think there's much more to worry about other than the Mind Flayer? Because there doesn't seem to be anything else there.
I think so. I
Yeah.
feel like there's like the thing is like the biggest fish in the sea is scared of something else. And,
Yeah.
I think there was one cool thing that I did like how they had this whole science facility there. It reminded me of I never watched The Fog, or I guess maybe even the original The Mist, but I just saw the one with Tom Jane, and the way that they kind of explained it was that scientists were working in a mountain and they accidentally opened a rift into another dimension, and then that's when everything happened and monsters started coming in. And I forget if that's kind of like what was the cause of the Nether coming into our universe, or that they were just investigating something happening.
Well, here's my counter question, I suppose. In season 2, we see Papa telling her she has a wound, it's festering, blah blah blah. What in relation to the Upside Down? Because we don't ever really find out what he's talking about, do we?
no.
No, not really.
I mean, I feel like he's just kind of alluding to like this rage that she has, but yeah.
You think that's what it was?
I felt like it because the thing is like she never got closure over her mom, her dad, and I really liked how like it was the whole like idea that everyone's lied to you and your entire reality has been fabricated, and kind of just going into like because I mean she was like a test tube child, so
She was number 11. I want to know what happened to 9 and 10. I want to know what happened to 1 through 7.
well 7, 8, 9
Or-
we know that.
Jesus Christ.
Or 8. Oh, we'll talk about 8.
We'll talk about 8. I mean, 8 was, I mean, we could jump into that real quick. I thought that was the fact that they've introduced other numbers to me has really got me intrigued and kind of makes me think kind of to the point of this Hawkins can't be the only town that this is happening to.
yeah.
Like, are these other test subjects A, alive, and B, are they seeing the same shit that 11 can see and is going through
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
I have some concerns, and I'll save this more to elaborate when we talk about qualms. But I'm worried
favorite.
that it's gonna like make it too hero-y.
Yeah.
If they're not
I
careful.
started thinking it was going to go that route when
Yeah.
I think you're going to bring up an episode
really good
that's
point.
Yeah.
that's coming to my mind that it was like going to be like, oh, they're creating X-Men kind of.
Anyways, but I forget.
We'll do an X-Men
I
episode.
forget. Everything that happened with 11 was kind of like her mom was like tested on and stuff like that, or like had experiments on, and then she had a kid, and those properties or whatever the hell they wanted like was passed down, right?
I believe so.
And that never was like really explicitly connected with another. It was almost like two random things happened, and it's like this nether's opening, and then this child was born with special properties. Somehow they're connected, right?
She 11 opened up the
So that was the thing,
Gate,
right? She created the So the entire movie is her. The entire series is her fault.
sort of in a sense, except that they made her do it. So yes and no.
Because then
Papa was a bad man.
So I feel like we need I feel like we need like an origin story, you know, like an origin of because we still don't know. There's
'Cause
still
all
a
we-
lot that we don't know.
Because all we've seen is the birth where they took her, and then suddenly she's like 6 years old
Yeah,
playing with 8.
and we don't know how far down the rabbit hole goes. Like what you were saying, 1 through 7, 9 and 10. Like, is 11 the last one? Like,
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
yeah.
like you know, it's
for sure.
it's an odd number.
Yeah. I think that's a I hope they explore that.
Yeah, I think that might be what they're setting up for, because I think they said they want to make 4 seasons, right? The
I don't know.
brothers.
Did they?
I think the brothers said they want to do 4 seasons.
I'm glad that they're
And then they're out. But
Limited.
I don't think it's been greenlit. But I think that's what
3 has been.
three
I know
three
that
has
for
been.
sure.
But I don't know if 4.
I mean, we'll probably know by the pilot. I mean, when they release it out, because they just shoot it all out. And I think it's
Mouth
probably
readers.
the most anticipated Netflix series next to the Marvel ones.
Yeah,
Easily, if not
Yeah.
more than the Marvel ones.
Yeah.
It's got more of an appeal than
Yeah,
I
because
think the Marvel ones
it's
do.
kind of encapsulated, and the
Broader.
thing is, all it needs to do is continue to do, and this is what I feel like. we'll get into a qualm about it. Like the season 2 success was just because
God,
season
we
1
all
was so
want to
good.
talk about qualms.
I
We
know.
keep going.
Well, we've talked a half hour about great stuff.
But I
Should we
mean,
just should we just do it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fine. I think we can get into it.
We can Oreo it, you know.
yeah, we can Oreo it. I'll sandwich it up. Like, but
So are we saying the qualms is the white, is the
Yeah, I
the
guess so, in
sweet
this case.
stuff in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that limited edition Oreo you buy where the cream filling just
Yeah.
doesn't taste very
Let's
good?
let's try not to
Oh, the
make it double
mystery
stuffed.
ones?
Yeah, the mystery ones, but it still has the trusty, you know, chocolate cookie on the outside.
Yeah.
I like that.
right.
But just before we get into it, I think Ollie's really good about just mentioning that we still like the show. We're still wanting to watch it. We're not
love the
here to
show.
just tear it
Yeah.
apart. But
I was
mean,
able to watch 7 hours straight of it today.
Yeah.
And people at home, this is not a review show. This is just a talking show. So really don't take our word for it. We know nothing.
Go watch it for yourself.
I don't have a degree about
watch
critically
it for
analyzing
yourself.
films or critiquing
You
them. It's fine.
decide.
We want to
for
hear what
yourself.
you think, actually.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're in a pluralistic world where there's probably even an upside down for this. So I mean, like there's a universe where there's the Nerd On podcast where they just loved everything about it.
Yeah.
Called Normal Off. And I mean, I didn't have many qualms except for fucking Mr. Clark. I'm so let down, guys. So for our listeners, I was waiting for my wife to watch together, and we dropped the ball. So I binged 7 hours of it today, 7 episodes, and I kept waiting for Mr. Clark to make his return and help the kids out with whatever they needed. And they abandoned him in like episode 5, and you never see him again. And my heart is broken.
They just
It
have
is
the
broken in
Ghostbusters
two-
little ghost thingy, and then that's it.
That was it. He
Well,
loved
let
it too.
me-
Like he put the trap up there, and he was like, "Oh my god, a trap! Did the doors work?" And I was like, "Yeah, he gets it, man." And then they were like, "All right, gotta go," and that was it. So
Let me
that's
promote
my
something for you.
biggest screaming qualm.
It's related to your qualm.
Yeah.
Do you think there was an overabundance of new characters and because like one of my qualms is like Mike basically taking like the back seat.
Yes, that was my other big thing.
Yes.
And do you think that's because of like them wanting to focus on other characters?
I think the Trinity affected him.
Explain.
So the Trinity effect is when you get a dope ass female protagonist who's literally just super cool with the male protagonist.
Yeah.
The male protagonist and the female protagonist fall in love. I'm doing hand signs where people are meeting together,
Yep.
everyone
Yeah.
at home. And then when the sequel comes out, now the romantic character is literally just like, help me, save me. I'm useless without you.
Right.
So that like,
gotcha.
and so in this paradigm, and I think to me, like we need more of it where we have strong female characters. Like she's the hero. Mike's
Yeah.
not really a hero because without 11, nothing could have happened. Mike just kind of assembled everyone together. But in the end of it, 11 is the one that actually handles business. So I feel like Mike kind of had to play like what you would see in a sequel of a movie of like the widowed
Kind of
wife.
a douche.
Yeah.
He's kind of a douche to Max the entire time.
Because his heart belongs to 11.
Doesn't matter.
And you know what? But I did actually, my heart did jump. I was like, you know what? They can work out. It could be cool. But I thought
Teen angst was just like
Are you talking about Mike and Max?
because she was talking to him and she was like, blah
Nah.
blah.
Yeah.
You need a zoomer, blah blah blah. And I was like, she's trying to be cool with him, and like I don't know if like
She's
that's
trying to
happen-
be cool with him because she's in love with Lucas and wants to be cool with his friends.
But at that time, I was kind of like, Lucas is doing all this work, and then Dustin's like, "You messing up, man. You ain't getting this girl. You just playing. He's like, you just playing with this little
Just
slime
like
dog."
But that's
but
typical Dustin, though, isn't it?
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I
And then Billy being racist, correct?
Yeah, they went there. You know, I think they
Like
were
he hates the black
touching
kid.
that.
yeah, I mean, it's the '80s, so they have to capture some bad parts.
That's a
of
good
it.
point.
And I think that's cool. We live in, our time right now where we can see that and we can be sensitive to it. When you get a lot of people who are watching these like old TV shows and there's a lot of like gay bashing undertones or like racial, bad shit that they're saying. And it's like, oh, you didn't realize that was actually the time and place that you were in.
Oh, like when
Right.
the dad calls him,
yeah.
yeah, he says that
And-
race, slur,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
homophobic slur.
now we get to watch like kind of like, oh shit, that's like how it was back in the day. Like you were going to be called out on
commonplace.
that, but then now we see it. We're like, oh my god, I can't believe that's how things were.
Yeah. Mhm.
But like I said, with everything with film and all that, even if it's a period piece, you still have to like put that in there and parallel
You have
it
to
to our
capture it.
time.
Take the good with the bad.
Well, you parallel it to our time, so you kind of feel like, oh god, like how could we have been from that place? And then
Yeah.
you realize how far we've come, and even though it's like only been 30 years.
it's like when you watch Mad Men and you go,
The qualms. So I have a qualm with the entire series as an arc. I think the characters are well written. I think the aesthetic, the production value, the sound, some of the acting's okay. I think there's some acting that could be better.
Winona Ryder.
Did you?
Did I say that
you
out
okay?
loud?
You okay?
But my big problem with it, kind of like in Black Mirror, where something bad's going to happen at the end. It feels very mechanical. And so the cool thing about the Netflix series as a whole, and I wish we could have an episode where we just talk about Netflix original series and they're kind of like
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
Usually TV shows like on cable television have three acts, and they have the act structure. Actually, now hour-long shows have 6 acts. And they play to a certain point where, like, in the middle of it, right before the big commercial break, there's something happens, and then they go to the very end, and that's the end. But it kind of slightly leaves you in a place where you're okay. In Netflix series, like, they always have to leave you with the cliffhanger that wants you to watch the next episode because you have to binge the show, and we've gotten so accustomed to a binging like lifestyle. But the thing is, not too much happens between episodes 3 and 6, 2 and 5. You have to get over the course of like 4 episodes to actually be like, okay, movement is actually happening. Like, how long did it take for us to get 11 out of the house?
Well, I think what the biggest issue with season 2 is, so with season 1, everyone's kind of together all the time, right? So they don't have to take the time to tell, let's tell, Hopper and Eleven's story. Now let's tell Lucas and Max's story. Now let's tell Dustin and Dart's story. Now let's tell Mike and Will's story. It was kind of like there's Will's mom, and then there was the kids. Like, that was all they had to tell. So every episode was like, boom, 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 boom.
It was a much more linear plot.
Right. I felt like season 2 was a lot of like, let's spread everyone out, tell all their stories, and then by episode 8, we'll bring them all back together again, and 9 will happen.
I will counter argue that, because what I love the most about The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, is that you did separate everyone from each
Right,
other.
that's a movie.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not over 9 hours.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing. I agree. I totally agree.
I was going to compare it to Two Towers, more so.
Which is 9 hours.
Which is exactly 9 hours long. Yeah, it's like half of 9 hours though, which is kind of still scary. But it's exploring those characters. It's that like breath between like the first and the third, where you just get a chance to explore characters. I love Two Towers. It did it really well. Again, movie, a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I feel like, there's things in here like 8. I really strongly believe that 8 exists to set up season 3.
Oh yeah.
Which I kind of have an issue with. It goes back to sort of like the Matrix issue,
Or back to
where
Age
it's
of
like
Ultron.
now that you have 2 seasons to do, like you're going to play in that space as opposed to like concentrating on season 2 and making that a cohesive experience.
Yeah.
So like we got the opening scene for the entire like season 2 was 8, and then we get the sort of like
one-off
divisive episode 7, which off of a cliffhanger from episode 6 where the dog's like attacking the booth.
Yeah.
And then just jump into episode 7 where it's about 11 and she's gone and she's meeting her family.
Comparatively to where the season finale of season 1, it ended off with Hopper dropping a box of Eggos. And you're kind of like, oh shit, she's alive.
Yeah.
That was the only like, oh, I need to watch next season. This one's like, in the middle of the series, you kind of like stopped almost most progress to show the Lost Girls Lost Sister? Lost Girls?
Sister.
Lost Sister episode. And that was it.
She
I
called
was
her sister.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. So it's like,
What was the purpose of this?
it kind of just stopped all momentum. And I mean, a little bit going back to, I'm trying to hijack it back. A little bit going back to my part, like to me, the thing is like, I feel like with season 1 and 2, nothing happens until like the last 2 episodes. And I feel like this is actually a big Marvel critique. Is that like, or not Marvel,
I feel like
Netflix
season 1
critique.
had a lot more going for it than season 2.
Yeah,
I
I mean-
enjoyed 1 much more, and I felt season 1 I couldn't put it down. Like I had to talk myself out of watching more. And with season 2, there were a few episodes where halfway through the episode I was like, I just gotta get through this, and then I know we'll get back to the Demodogs and we'll get back to the hospital, back to Will. But like that episode for me was probably my least favorite out of the entire series.
And I mean, I think for the same reason that Corey, I think we don't like some of the reasons why like it kind of split off and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. It's because we wanted what we had in the first one when they all came back. So I mean, it is a device, but sometimes it's kind of like oatmeal, like steel coat oatmeal, where it's like cold. And it's like, ugh, I'll eat it. It's good for me.
It's good for
but
you.
I don't like
it does make her realize that she wants to be home and all that stuff. And it serves a purpose, but
Yeah,
Kind of.
they could have
Kind
done it
of.
with half an episode.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Yes.
it could have been done quicker. But I wanted to get to the stuff where like I think one of the strongest or most fun things to watch was Steve with the kids.
Yeah.
Like being a mom,
Babysitter.
essentially. Yeah, like with the towel over his
The
shoulder
hair,
and everything.
like
yeah.
the hair conversation. Oh man.
And
Farrah
so I think
Fawcett?
like
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett's
the heart of this show isn't the upside down. It's not the Demogorgons. It's the relationships the characters
Yeah.
have with each other that kept me watching it.
Which is why you watch TV.
Right,
You watch it
and,
for
and
character
having
development.
having them overcome these things together, like fucking when 11 finally throws that demidog through the window and steps through the door in all slow motion, I was like, yes, we're back, baby.
Yeah.
it's happening. And so like, I think my another big issue I had.
She comes in with her chucks.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It's just that feeling of like up until episode 8 or 9. I was just like, when is everyone getting back together to do this shit?
When is something going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think they're just trying to develop the characters so you feel like there's some growth with them. Because I mean, that's kind of like a weird staple you find a lot with like these franchises, and I keep talking about like these shared universe things, and like what happens is like when you bring everyone together, what are you going to do when you separate them? You have to show some growth, and the best thing to do is just dismantle the team. And break them from the inside and then force them to get back together, because then you feel triumphant when they're finally back together to fight the Mind Flayer. And you're like, okay. And they finally, and to me, I think not trying to start the whole Oreo thing, but like I really did like how they went back to season 1 with the lights and trying to figure out that whole alphabet thing. And then they're doing this whole drawing around the house, because it always comes back to like, we got to fuck up the house.
Yep.
Like, let's
we gotta
fuck up the house and do this like elaborate thing.
We have to
house.
hang stuff up.
Yeah.
Another little qualm I have, and I'll pass it to you after this, Josh. This is just a little one that popped in my head. Was playing with the whole trope of like 11 being jealous of Max.
Oh, yeah.
Max.
You build up this really strong, independent character who's got her issues with her past, but like all in all is like really kind of like has herself and like knows what she wants and stuff like that. So I didn't like that they had that whole jealousy thing where she throws her skateboard out from under her, or B, when they meet, she doesn't shake her hand at all, even though Max is like, hey, I'm Max. I've heard a lot about you. And then they never resolve it. Like, as
They
far
don't.
as we know, Max and 11 are still fucking hate each other.
I would say
Yeah.
the second part where 11 doesn't make amends. The first part, because I think it's like 11 finally getting freedom. All she wants to do is see Mike. And it's not, I think the first part is not a jealousy thing. It's more like, I've been gone and no one missed me.
Okay, I can
Mike's
see it
moved
that
on.
way. I can see it that
And
way.
so for
but
me-
that second
Well,
one,
it's kind of like, okay, in Harry Potter, when Dobby stops his letters and Harry Potter is just like stuck in this horrible experience, and he comes back and he thinks, oh great, you guys are having all of this fun and I've been at that fucking place. It's kind of like that when she comes back and she's like, great,
dig
I've
that a
been
little
stuck
more.
in a cabin.
Well, I think
and
I
you
think they
guys
also
are-
use it as an opportunity to continue to remind us that she's just a little kid.
that's
You
good.
know,
That's a good
and
point.
and like some of the dynamic between her and Hopper, I think really illustrated that she's just a little kid that can be easily like completely turned 180 at the
Drop of a
idea
hat,
of the idea of a ego extravaganza.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
that's
I mean,
true.
like just looking at
second moment though.
looking at it critically, like you
Yeah.
you see like 11 comparatively to Max. Max is someone that kind of knows who she is, who's really good at games, that like gets the guy's attention, like gets Lucas's affection immediately
Lucas.
when 11 never had that chance,
Yeah.
right? And so I mean, like just kind of comparing those characters together, it's like she
also can't lift stuff with her mind.
they're almost
so
Yeah,
it's a little
there's that.
leeway.
they're almost foils of each other. I wouldn't say they're antagonists of each other, but they're foils because they're both strong characters of their own right. But they just you learn more about each other because of what the other one's not comparatively. So I mean, like I think I like Max just because then you get the boys that have someone else they can like, and I was like, okay, cool. And
It's
then
interesting because they could have resolved it like at the very end.
Yeah.
They could have been like, she could have just been like nice dress or something, and like they
Something.
could have like smiled at each other, and that
But
would have been.
as far as we know, they still hate each other.
Do you think that's on purpose?
Maybe. I just think it's
what if?
after saving the world together, it's a little petty.
It's silly. Yeah.
But I mean, they're about to go into high school, aren't they? So it's like that's the petty shit that happens.
Yeah, I
it
feel like
is.
you grow up a little fast when you save the world twice. You
Maybe.
have a little more level head on your shoulder.
Shit, I totally forgot of like a kind of a new favorite character in season 2,
Go on.
the detective.
The
The
detective?
detective who has the little bunker, and that's when Jonathan and Nancy
the
do
conspiracy
the thing.
theorist?
Yeah, I
Oh, God,
love that
that
guy. Oh my god,
Tequila.
He's so
No,
good.
vodka.
Vodka.
Oh,
He
God.
hates the Russians, but he drinks vodka.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you can water your vodka down. And
Oh, when he
he's-
calls them on their bullshit too.
he's like, oh, how's
Oh,
your
yeah.
how's the pullout?
Yeah.
The couch,
The bed.
I was like, oh my god.
So good.
And then he's like, he just like nails everyone. I love characters who could just like, the things obviously they're written in a certain way, so it's like characters who could just call out just like, you don't love blah blah blah. And
you
it's
have
like,
dad
guys-
issues. You
Yeah,
have
it's
trust
like,
issues because you're dad. I'm
I
guessing.
love that shit.
I like
No?
to see Nancy go down that path of becoming like that's basically her role, and I think in both seasons of being more like a detective kind of investigative person with Jonathan.
Nancy Drew.
Ooh.
Oh.
Look at you, Tom. Josh Qualms.
I got to be perfectly honest. I have a lot.
Okay.
This is a long episode, everyone.
This
Buckle up.
This show for me, I think it has the hype train is just so big, and I'll be perfectly honest. I watched it I watched the show. Like I remember when the trailer came out, like you were mentioning, Tom, and I was really excited about it. I was like, yeah, this is cool, and it came out about yes.
I'm going to add on to that. I remember watching the trailer and I was like, this is going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great.
season Me two?
And no, season 1.
Oh, okay.
And I was
Yeah.
like, fucking, and I posted on Facebook and I was like, dude, this seems legit. I love supernatural shit, blah, blah, blah. Like it's in the 80s. All like, look
Yeah.
at this fucking design. Like, fuck, like Marvel
Yeah.
just wants to do like all these cool things. And but look at this like cool aesthetic. And then I felt like crickets. I felt for a real long second crickets. It wasn't until like it finally came out
Yeah.
that like everyone was like, oh my god, it's the best thing. I was like, and the thing is, I didn't watch it when it came out. I kind of wanted to wait. I had like a adultery thing with someone. Like I was supposed to watch it with a friend, and I was like, I'll wait till you're ready to watch it. And I didn't watch it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like going crazy about it. So I'm like, I'm with you. Where I was like, I was really ahead of the curve when I first saw the trailer. I was like, this seems fucking amazing.
Yeah, I thought that it was going to be amazing, and I kind of at the time I was going to some training for some work for a long period of time, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it, and I'm gonna be flying for a long time. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, this show blows.
Season 1? Whoa.
Yeah, it
shit.
took. No, actually, no, it doesn't blow.
I didn't know we were
It's
walking
just-
into that.
Grandpa
No.
Josh.
Okay, here's the thing: is
Yeah,
it's like
seriously, Grandpa Josh
I
did.
watched
didn't
it. I
enjoy
watched the
it?
first season, and it was like it took me a long time to get into it. Like it's just like it's one of those shows that you're like, okay, all right, I'm gonna watch Stranger Things. All right.
It's
I'm
like
gonna-
me in Game of Thrones.
all right, I've got okay.
Jeez.
That's one episode down. All right, how many more of these are there? Okay,
Oh no.
okay, there's another one. Okay, let's watch it. All right, sweet. Okay, and then things start finally happening.
Yeah.
like
Okay.
episode 8 of fucking 10, and I'm like,
It just feels like
Si-
4 episodes of exposition.
like nothing happened. What? Come on!
The show you live in.
And it makes me sad because I'm like, it has great characters. I think it's a great premise for a show.
Production quality is good.
Production quality is amazing.
Soundtrack is fun.
soundtrack is awesome. It's playing homage to many of my favorite things.
you say homage?
Did I say homage?
I-
Homage is a good.
I hear homage. I say homage. But I
Either
don't know.
way.
It's like Orange Duvers.
Potato, tomato.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever.
Philip Snop.
Now I'm gonna be all like, oh god, did I say the right word? Anyway,
Homage.
homage to the 80s, and I love a lot of what came out of the 80s, and so I want it to be good. Like I want it to be from the second you press play to the second it ends. Like, so when season 2 was coming out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm just not like everybody's fucking peeing their pants for it, and I'm like, it's.
I think for me,
You
it-
just
it
got
filled-
overhyped.
I think it was
Expectations-
overhyped.
I mean,
I'm like,
that's a
it's-
danger.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
think that there's so many great qualities in this basket that is Stranger Things, and it's just not. I just don't think it's that great of a show.
I think it just like it speaks to me so much from like that time period.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Am
And I'm
I
gonna
that
throw this
guy
out
on this
there.
episode?
I think you are. I think you're Grandpa Josh.
People are gonna hate me.
So, I mean,
Man,
like,
Josh.
Hashtag
You
hate
didn't just
Josh.
watch it and enjoy it, Josh?
No.
God damn it!
I
The
not
one time.
Here's the thing. Yes, I go into entertainment to be entertained, and I want to watch it, but It's not that I don't fucking analyze things.
It's okay. There's that
I
one guy
watch
at home
things
right
and-
now being like, "Preach it, brother."
Yeah, there is.
There is
someone's.
I'm
listening.
not the only one.
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Dozens.
It's not that.
And this is when Nerd on the Podcast got banned from iTunes because of fans.
No, I guess I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but it's just like
We're not Rotten Tomatoes. We're not going to just tear a movie down or tear a
And
show
you're on the
down for no
podcast
reason.
where 3 guys from LA get together.
and that was the moment Josh was punched in the face and thrown out of
I
the
mean,
show.
he still mixes our show.
Yeah.
No, it's just I'm
It's not as spectacular as everyone says it is.
no,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just like
fine.
I just think that
It's good. It's quality, but it's not like a fucking
There's a
masterpiece.
lot of really great things about it. Like I said, the characters. I love watching the characters. I really do. I love most
Together.
episodes have good things from them, but it's just like I think of it of great idea, poor execution. Like
Let me
it's
throw
just
this
like-
at you.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the first things that came into my head when I started watching it. I don't know if you'll feel the same. It's
tell
the
you.
Super 8 we should have gotten.
I see that.
Yes.
I could see that.
Because
Yeah.
I personally was very
agree.
disappointed with Super 8.
Well, the tough thing is like I was just gonna go on to that when you're saying like it should be good from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know for some
I mean,
reason.
that's an unrealistic expectation, in all honesty, for a show.
well, for
but-
some reason,
right.
I immediately like I feel like you were asking for like a Spielberg polish, where Spielberg, whenever like he starts a movie, it just feels magical.
yeah.
And I'm talking about
Yeah.
old Spielberg. Nah.
Old Spielberg.
But like, yeah, Super 8 kind of
The
felt
Spielberg that this show pays homage to.
like.
You remember, yeah.
The entire time he was saying that with his pinky up, just to let everyone know.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I kind of agree that like Super 8 kind of also tries to get that same magic from the 80s, from like when, practicals were involved, and like there was just some kind of vibe that was going on in the 80s because or
Like
the
E.T., Close
the
Encounters type
90s
stuff.
movies were doing about the
Yeah.
80s.
I mean, I
it didn't
love-
feel as genuine in the movie.
Like, if I'm gonna throw some positive, like I love the Ghostbusters thing.
Yep.
I love that. I love the kid troop. I don't like that. I don't like the Max thing either. Like, kind of pushing her aside because she's like, yeah, you guys need a zoomer and all that kind of stuff, and it's just
All
like
she is nice.
she's just nice.
She's
and she
nice
has
and
this
trying to run away
shitty
from
home,
her shitty family. Yeah,
Billy's a dick, and
His
like
dad's a homophobe.
and it's just like, I don't
She's
know.
trying to
I don't
find
like
her
that
place where
Barb
she
died.
belongs.
I don't like that Barb died.
Okay, whoa. I gotta open up this can of worms real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Why the fuck is she so like popular? Like, cause me, like when I saw, I'm like, okay, cool. She's just gonna be like the
Who?
Barb.
Oh, Barb.
She's just gonna be like this
Unsolved
logical person that's kind of like not to me like a downer, but like just hey, fucking don't do this.
Oh,
shit.
why is she with the popular kids?
No. Well, the thing is like, why is she?
I mean, culturally.
Oh,
yeah, culture's so popular. Everyone's like, oh my god, Team Barb and Barb shirts and Barb Funko Pops and Barb everything.
Because
I think
she
they're
didn't
trying to be
deserve
ironic.
Any of it.
Yeah.
There's always the character in a horror movie that dies that didn't deserve it. Bob
I
Newby.
know.
I mean, would you say like she's a Bob Newby 1.0
No, because
of a character that didn't deserve to fucking die that everyone kind of just like? Because to me, I was just like, you died in fucking 2
he
episodes. I don't give a
sacrificed
fuck about
himself
you.
saving everybody.
Yeah,
And that's why
Barb
he's
gets
cool.
shit on by her best friend and the popular
Yeah.
guy from high school. And then when she's like, we need to leave, you've drank too much, blah, 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 her friend shits on her again. And then she goes and sits by the pool by herself and then gets killed. Like, that's fucked. She didn't deserve any of that.
Yeah.
She wasn't even trying to, like,
That
risk
whole
her life
season,
to save
I was
everyone.
like, she's still alive.
And then
She's
you
still-
see her-
and then you see her, and she's like, she's
very dead.
She's very dead.
Like
She's
dead,
very
she's
dead.
like
That is
dead,
her
like
dead body.
a bunch.
So I think
Oh.
that's why I think people were like, flocked to her because, she
I feel like that's also internet craze that goes crazy.
Probably- I mean,
Everyone's,
there's
like,
probably a
just
part to
making
that.
it popular for no
But
reason.
I loved Barb because I was just like, she was right the whole time.
Yep.
They were wrong for that, what they did to her. To quote
you
us.
wrong for that.
They were wrong for that. What Steven and Nance did to her at that party, and like, then she just gets killed by sitting alone on a fucking pool
Yeah.
like, diving board by
Just
herself.
trying to be a good
sad.
friend.
Just trying to be a great friend, waiting for her friend so
Yeah.
that she can drive her home later.
Yeah.
Shitty.
It's
That's why.
shitty.
Team Barb.
Moral of season 1 story is if you're a good
Yes.
person, you will die.
Yeah. Yes.
You will die. You're the DD, you will die.
Yes.
And that- it's essentially yes. Actually, I actually went to a Halloween party where I was 11 and someone dressed as Barb, and it was like spot on costume. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Did they die?
He died.
They died.
It's
They were just
crazy.
trying to do the right thing, and they died.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What makes you different from me?" And I was like, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
One thing I
Son
did,
of a.
Without fail,
I
every
just
time.
forget about it. I just have like blindness
Yeah.
and like deafness to it now. One thing that I did like about that Ghostbusters sequence was when they did get, because I think that was like just the biggest, like everyone's like, oh my God, season 2 is going to be fucking amazing. Because, you know, the internet loves to like over exaggerate everything. And like, it's the best thing ever, like when you saw the kids in the Ghostbuster outfits. But my favorite part of that episode is actually when they turn around, they're like, oh my God. And there's like the music goes up, and they're like, "Why isn't anyone wearing costumes?" 'Cause, like,
I loved it.
so
That's such, to me, like that's like the
That'd
good.
probably be me.
That's like the good horror movie like trope of like the scary thing's about to happen, but it's a false scare. But then this is they use it for comedy and nothing happens at all. And I don't know.
I just realized something. There's 4 of us.
Yeah.
We could be Ghostbusters.
Nice. I like that.
Yes.
We're doing it.
I'm going to be Venkman.
You can be Ray.
Yeah.
Why? Well, why? Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, I'm on the other side of the coin. I loved the show, especially the first season. The second season,
I feel like a dick for not loving
no,
it.
Okay,
Like,
just
it's
be
okay.
you. Do you, boo boo?
Well, let's open it up. Season 1 compared to season 2. Which one do you like better?
Definitely season
Season
one.
one.
Season 1. Season
However,
one?
I
funny
think
enough, I like season 2 more.
I like season 2 more.
the kids were
Yeah.
better actors in
Oh.
season 2. We'll hold hands over here.
It's okay.
You're holding fingers.
That's fine.
That's all that
I'm not
matters.
picky.
Physical contact.
That's
Well, okay,
Finger-
so why
fingers are parts of the
season
hand.
why season 1 over season 2?
I think it was just like
Too slow.
not to quote Steve here, but I just felt it. You know, I felt that lightning in season 1. I just liked the discovery of the relationship between all the kids. I liked the dynamic of having all of them together, which is what I kind of missed into is the whole group that
Yeah.
know and love their dynamic in season 1 is completely split apart. And I know you said it's story and character growth reasons, but I would have liked to see them together more so
Scooby
than
Squad.
just like the first 2 episodes, because after that it's nothing until the very end. And even then you don't get the whole group together because Eleven's with Hopper and they're with Steve. So even throughout the whole season 2, you don't get the whole team back together. And I think
had
that
a-
let me down a little bit.
It had a tighter story, I feel.
Yeah.
Purposed.
Okay, we got the season 1 camp over here.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think it had a clearer direction, I guess. And I, kind of what you said, like all the characters are kind of in a free fall. But in this one, I guess I just wish in season 2 we had seen that, like at least in a movie where at the end they're like, oh, now the team's back together, they're gonna take the thing down. We didn't even get that, and I think that let me down a little bit.
So for me, I'm exact opposite. So Corey, let me hold your hand.
I don't want to.
Let me hold your hand, so I can let go of it. My thing is like, my worry is a lot of times of feeling fear for characters. If I don't feel like nothing's going to happen to them, I don't give a shit. There has to be stakes, and so every time the team is together, I'm like, oh, whatever, they'll get through it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But whenever a character's by themselves
Not true.
or in twos, then it's like something might happen.
Something bad might happen.
Or you just get intimate scenes, which I liked. And for me, season 2 played a lot of things that I wanted to happen in season 1, where I wanted Jonathan and Nancy to get together. So like season 2 was like a payoff for that. I wanted like more between Hopper and Joyce, so season 2 was a payoff for that.
Yeah.
I wanted Mike and Eleven to like get back together, so that was a payoff.
Hallelujah.
So exactly.
Oh, the 10 seconds you see them together, that was the payoff.
Well, for me, I was kind of like this entire
The whole 10 seconds.
Well, to me, the entire first season is kind of like Mike is having to get to know Eleven. It's like, okay, obviously they're gonna get together. So it's like, let's get through all the bullshit of them finding out everything about each other and
The
growing,
bullshit?
and them
Says the
grow-
storyteller of love stories, the bullshit of
and
finding
the
out about
growing
each other.
pains. Well, to me, well, the thing is like kind of like I guess to that point where it's like the point of a romance or like
Let's just
this-
watch The Notebook, but just the part where
just
they
the
die
ending,
together.
just the ending, just the ending.
Cut the bullshit out. Just the part where they
bullshit.
die hand in hand at 80.
No, it's like Mike is basically Bruce Wayne at the beginning of Rises.
Yeah,
He's just moping.
yeah, he's just moping.
Yeah.
Sad man.
Every day I'm moping.
But I felt that season 2 had a lot of payoffs, and to me, like I just felt like they knew what they were gonna do with season 2.
I enjoyed watching season 2 more than I
Yeah,
did
I
season 1.
felt like they just knew what they were gonna do with the characters. Like
Took me a year
better.
to watch season 1.
Yeah, season. Well, I mean, it's funny because I didn't watch any of them in the peak of their hype, and I heard about things and stuff like that, and I don't know. I think Bob Newby just kind of like really pulled it over, and that's kind of I think a really shallow point where it's kind of like one character kind of really won me over because he kind of became this like hopeful person that had to die because you can't have everything
Yeah.
happy. you know.
Not everything can work out.
Not everything can work out. And the thing is, like, that person went through it, became a pivotal, like, plot device, and died. Other than, like, this sad person that was like Barb that had no real reason to die, and almost you didn't feel like what part are they going to play?
He got to be a hero.
Yeah, I mean, everyone. I feel like everyone kind of got to play a part other than Mr. AV Teacher
And Mike.
and Mike. And Mike, yeah,
Mike
was
didn't do
just-
shit season 2.
But I
He
mean,
just kept going, he's a spy! That was it. That was his whole thing in season 2. Oh, he's not a spy now, but you said he was. Yeah, but now he's not. But he's a spy! Then
Yeah.
the phone rings. He's a spy again! Fuck you, Mike.
because I mean, I guess it does bring up to Ollie's points. Like, do you think they did that because they gave him so much FaceTime in season 2?
I'm sure they did, but I think they
They need to balance it.
didn't balance it. They went
Yeah.
too far the other direction, where Mike just kind of sits and looks at Will throughout all of season 2, and then season 2 ends.
Well, think of this. Like let me throw this at you. Do you think?
Caught it.
Because my big issue is like with season 2, and what's mainly stopping it is kind of what episode 7 kind of represents, and like
It's a very big build up for the next season.
yeah, building up for next season or next 2 seasons or whatever they do. Do you think it would have been more interesting if like somehow they incorporated him into the episode 7, since it's more related to 11?
Yeah,
Mike.
Yeah.
it would have been cool.
and
Yeah, they just had a
Maybe
whole episode of each
he
other.
helped, or he had an influence in bringing her back to Hawkins.
Yeah,
Or something
Yeah.
along those lines, as
Besides
opposed to
her
just
just-
or
Seeing
just
him.
having 8
Yeah.
be part of the final act.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I wanted that. I wanted to see some of that because it's like you introduce this really cool character that I'm thinking, oh, this is really cool.
Like, what if instead of getting the van, she was like, no, I'm going to go with my sister?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think a big part. I don't know, we're in Qualm world, but also like what we like better world part of this show. I would say that is probably one of the
And then
biggest.
Steve and 8 end up together.
Was the biggest problem of season 2 is that it relied so much on season 1. It relied so much on the fact that everyone loved season 1, and that's why you do like these callbacks, like the whole house getting destroyed. Like Mike is the one that kind of has to figure shit out, and like Dustin's having conflict with everyone that's in
it's
the group or
resolving
something.
the events from season 1. But I feel like they could have done that tighter
Yeah, they could have done.
and then moved on.
Yeah, and so
But I felt like it spent a little too much time in that.
well, I mean, I just kind of like draw the same parallel to like Dan Harmon actually draws a parallel of Back to the Future 2 is only so good because Back to the Future 1 was good.
Right.
If Back to the Future 1 was shit, Back to the Future
We
2
established all
was
these amazing characters and all this stuff, and
and all you gotta
Yeah.
do is just play with them.
you just want to hang out with them.
Yeah, all you gotta do is just play
I guess
with them.
I guess that's a good way to play it. I want a little more play
yeah.
Yeah.
in season 2.
You know how we feel about play too much sometimes.
It's how I feel about,
You play too much.
or how I felt about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I was like, I just want to hang out with him. Give me whatever. And then they made X3
Origins.
and Origins, and
But he might stab you if you sleep next to him.
That's okay.
But I also wish like some more would have happened. Like, and that's the tough thing with season 2. They introduced so many new characters, but they also introduced new aspects of the Nether and the Upside Down.
Yeah.
But you still don't know what the fuck the Upside Down is, and I don't know if they're gonna ever open up to it, because then if you know what it is, you're not afraid of it anymore.
Well, if there's a limited number of seasons, then
They'll
maybe
have
they
to.
can. They can tell more of a story about that, and we can have an origin story. We can maybe
We can maybe use Mr. Clark more.
Yeah.
we can
God damn you, Duffer Brothers.
be a featured character.
Hashtag bring back Clark.
Fuck Barb, bring back Clark.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just feel like once you kind of know a little bit more about it, you start to get more intrigued about it. So I mean, like, I guess a weird way to bring back Hellboy. In Hellboy 1, they explain who are the Oktu Jihad, which is the tentacle monster from like in space that they had to open up a rift into like a gateway, and it actually it could come to our world. And it's like, cool. That's all I needed. But like, you just mind flare. It's a hive mind. That's it. I'm like, but why? It's like it doesn't know where it came from. And
Explain it.
and to me, it's almost like a guesstimation, because they're like, cool, open up this D&D thing. It doesn't even know where it came from. It's kind of like if something a calamity happened on Earth. It's like, so watching Michael Bay's Armageddon, this is what's happening. It's like, how could you take one piece of fiction and kind of explain what's happening in your reality?
Well, I think only because it worked the first time.
I
Yeah.
bring that up mainly because I want to try to understand the Duffer Brothers' motivation for the rest of the seasons. Are you concerned about the kids, or do you want to explore the Nether more? And is it underdeveloped, quote unquote, I would say, to a degree, because there's no real plans for it, or is there? You know, that's kind of the big question up in the air. Is like, where's the series headed? And the only clues we have is 8 and the other kids, potential numbers. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I love that.
Yeah, I feel like they have a lot of plates spinning. So you got all these kids with numbers who have special abilities. It's
a good way to put it.
You got the entire Goonie squad there who's like, we have to have relationship with them.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we have to have new characters. Cool. Now we have to have these adult characters. Cool. Now we have to have these kids who are in high school. One of them doesn't really know what the fuck to do. Cool. Now we have this science group here who's figuring out what's going on in the underworld. Cool. Now we got these like monsters here. We got to bring more monsters in there. Cool. Now we got to figure. It's like Jesus Christ. Like there's more stuff that's happening in Hawkins. Cool. It's like, wow. And now
When does
the
one
entire
decide that they should just move away from Hawkins.
After the first season.
When shit gets, it's kind of like in Jurassic Park or the Aliens movies. You would think that at one point they would just learn. Maybe I shouldn't play with dinosaurs.
Oh, what's his
maybe we
name's in
shouldn't
Aliens?
answer that distress call.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not on an
Dr.
island
Phil.
where we can't pull in the military when we need it.
Yeah. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Kind of like also when people should probably move out of Gotham City.
Yeah, probably.
But they just no
After the first
logical
major
reason.
villain attack, I'd be like, maybe we go to Jersey.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we did. I think we covered a lot.
I want to ask: did anyone watch Beyond Stranger Things?
I started it.
I didn't watch
No.
it. No.
Oh God.
I want to. It's
Why?
in
Would you
my-
recommend
it's
it?
on my list.
I would recommend it. I think it's just kind of cool because for me, I love watching like late night talk shows like with Jimmy Fallon or like Jimmy Kimmel, and they talk with the actors. Because
Yeah.
my big thing is like I always want to see where the actors are coming from and where they're going with it. And you know, something that you'll hear maybe sometime in the future if you watch more TV shows, character Bibles. You hear more about how
Yeah.
characters like have a whole backstory and what their ideas and what their intentions are.
It informs the writing.
Yeah.
And also it allows the actors to take some liberties when they kind of like see like, oh, I think this character would have done this.
Right.
And some directors or some creators even make music playlists for them. So I think that's pretty cool. Like you get a little bit more of that, and then they ask like, hey, well, like there was a cool hypothetical question that the host of the show asked. Like, so they asked the characters who play or the actors that play Nancy and Jonathan, it's like, what if Steve was there in that bunker with you? What would have happened? And they're like, oh, well, probably those same events would have happened, but it just would have been behind Steve's back or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's cool when you ask those questions in those places. And plus you get kind of like a cool idea of how those kids are growing up and what they're looking at them. You kind of learn where Dustin got the rrr from. And so it's really
Loved
good.
that.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd definitely recommend.
And that Farrah Fawcett spray. But yeah, let us know what your favorite moments were from season 1, season 2, who your favorite characters are.
Do we do any ratings for TV shows or not?
Nah, we're not gonna do any ratings for TV shows. But yeah, if you want to let us know about where what your favorite stuff was, Josh, where can they find all that information at?
You can find us on Instagram, Nerd on the Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Nerd on the Pod. People are reaching out to us. Love it. You can find us on
Shout
Facebook.
out to them.
Yes. Shout out to all those
All of
peeps. All of them. Find us on Facebook, Nerd on the Podcast. YouTube, like we always say, we're not big boys yet. So you got to search Nerd on the Podcast. But if you forget all of that, go to nerdonthepodcast.com and get your t-shirt. It's only going to be on sale for another week.
Yep.
So yeah, get it. Get that
T-shirts,
swag.
hoodies, tanks,
Hoodies. Ooh,
But if
Yeah.
you can't afford it, just donate to the website.
Yeah.
yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah.
that works too.
Josh, where can they find you specifically?
They can find me on Instagram, Joshua S. Manley. You can find me on Twitter, just Josh and Ya. You can find me on Facebook, Joshua S. Manley or something. IMDb, Joshua Sterling. Jeez, there's so many things.
All the social
PSN,
media.
which people are actually starting to reach out to me on.
There you go.
That's cool. PSN, Sterling J85. Let's play.
Nice.
It'll be fun. Yeah. What about you, Tom?
Thumb.
They could find me in my room watching Netflix. You can find me at Tall Dark Not Ugly on everything on everything. Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. YouTube is Thomas Borsuth. Vimeo is Thomas Borsuth. IMDb is Thomas Borsuth. Facebook, if you want to do that. It's pretty boring. But you could also find some of the stuff I work with my friends up in Sacramento as the Capeless Crusaders, the Capeless Crusaders podcast. I also work with Corey, and where can they find you?
They can find all of the stuff that Tom and I work together on at We Are Storyboard, BORED. That's wearestoryboard.com, or at We Are Storyboard on Instagram. You can find me at Corey89 or on Blizzard. I realized I've never been giving out the number after my Blizzard name.
Yeah.
So it's Corthan, and the number after it is 1929.
1867.
1929. Don't listen to Tom.
5309.
So find me. Let's play some Blizzard games, Hear the Storm. Wow, whatever you want. Ollie, what about you?
I'm Ollie, and you can find me on Twitter at FutureFoe. Find me on
Do it.
YouTube /FutureFoe Plays. Talk about Destiny. Come watch if you're interested in that kind of thing. You can find me on Blizzard as well. FutureFoe pound 11785.
Wow.
There it is.
I've had to say that a few times, so
It's not a hashtag.
it's not a hashtag. Hashtag before hashtag.
But yeah, thanks for letting us analyze, break down, and appreciate Stranger Things this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I was the grandpa this
It's
time.
going to happen to
Hey,
all
it
of us at
happens.
one point or another. Josh, thanks
That's
for
totally
taking
fine.
Give me that crown
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, give it back to Tom.
But everybody at home, thank you for listening. And as always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.